Welcome back. Time for the Capitol Report with Pat McGuigan of CapitolBeatOK.com. Pat, let's talk taxes. Based on the views of the legislative leaders at the Capitol, do you believe that an income tax is more likely than ever this session? If so, why?
Yeah, it was kind of efficient at the end of the legislative week. We got to talk straight in a row with the big three, not the governor herself, but her spokesman, beginning with Speaker Shannon. He wants the tax cut to be, the way he put it, as large as possible, as soon as possible. And he says at least 0.25%. And if we don't put it into effect this year, then he wants a higher percentage than 0.25%. And of course, the discussion is, the speculation is centering around 4.85% being the top rate rather than the current 5.25. So if it's delayed, higher. That's his bottom line. Governor Fallin's spokesman, Alex Wentz, said she is firmly for 0.25%. She's willing to look at other ideas. Her bottom line is, she said, I want a bill this year. So she didn't stress so much that the tax cut go into effect this year, but that she wanted a bill this year. And then Senator Bingman, he made it very clear. He says, I'm for a tax cut. Question is how much. I still think we ought to look at exemptions. And some of the tax credits, but get a tax cut done and get it done as soon as possible. So you're hearing from all three now. Now, the question will be, when's the effective date? You know, is it going to be the immediate coming fiscal year? Looks a little more likely it might be off in the future.
Okay, all right, we'll be watching that. I know you're also following this story, the indictment of the head of the Sooner Teen Party, Al Gerhart, this week. What's been the reaction to that over at the Capitol, including people over in the Tea Party?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Senator Bingman, who rarely raises his voice and rarely has a harsh word to say about anyone, did not raise his voice, but he did have some pretty strict admonitions about Mr. Gerhart. He said he's glad the legal system is going to take its course. He said we'll see how that turns out. And he said Gerhart needs to grow up. He said if you're going to lobby, you need to come and talk with people, make your case, do it face to face, and not enter into, I hesitate to even repeat the things that Mr. Gerhart did because they're so objectionable. Now, what I find particularly interesting, and it's a credit to the people I'm about to mention, is the Tea Party leadership itself. It's never been widely understood that the Tea Party groups are unaffiliated and kind of loosely in a coalition. The Sooner Tea Party of Mr. Gerhart is its own thing. Well, Steve Dixon, he's hardcore conservative. I get emails from him all the time advocating, a particular worldview. He says he would rather not talk at all about Gerhart, but he doesn't have much choice. And he went on to, in a pretty long document, he cataloged the things Mr. Gerhart has aimed at him, Steve Dixon, and at other Tea Party leaders. And a lot of people listening might not understand, and I know a lot of journalists don't understand, the divisions basically among nearly all of the local Tea Party groups and Tea Party leaders against Mr. Gerhart's behavior, dating all the way back to a year ago in the presidential campaign season, in the primary, when Ron Paul's supporters begged the national leadership to remove him. So you have Senator Bingman, Mr. Dixon, and Representative Kern, who has long eschewed Gerhart's style and his way of speaking about individuals. She said, keep it to issues, don't focus on individuals. And she's blaming Gerhart, at least in part, for the demise of one piece of legislation she was working on that was antagonistic to the UN, Agenda 21.
Right.
So it's all very interesting. I think Gerhart, it may or may not be liable, what he said. A court's going to determine that. But it was certainly malevolent and objectionable, the things that he said.
Finally, a quick word about someone you have deep admiration for, a friend of yours, the late Judge Robert Bork. You attended a memorial service for him in Washington, D.C. this week. Quickly, what did you see and hear there?
I'll just keep it short. Ray Randolph, his closest friend, described him as a man's man. His son, Bob Jr., Bob Bork Jr. described him as a loving father. I remember him as a man of principle. And what became clear at this memorial service at the Mayflower Hotel in Washington was this was a human being worthy of emulation, a role model. And I'm glad and blessed that I was able to be there to kind of do my own farewell.
Thanks for that. You can read more about these and other topics at CapitolBeatOK.com. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. Have a great day.